this situated here. All right. How is everybody's St. Patrick's Day going? Hope you're having a good day. Tonight I'm going to be doing a video making a dog bed. I have lots of spare polar fleece from various projects, but not really big enough pieces to make blankets out of, but not small enough pieces to discard. So I have finally kind of came up with an idea. I've done this for one of my dog beds, and so I had some foam left over from a bench cushion I had made, so I just covered it in some foam for my dogs, and that is one of several dog beds they have. So I have this polar fleece that I had used to back one of my t-shirt quilts, because I was working on one of those today, so I'm getting ready to back this one. So that made me kind of think of some of the scraps and things that I have. And as you can see, I'll kind of show you here, you know, it's a big piece, but it's a odd size. It's actually got a seam down it because I had to piece two pieces of fleece together to get the width I needed. But it's kind of an odd shape, but it's plenty big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover a piece of foam and use it for a dog bed. I don't know if your dogs are like my dogs, but eventually they start eating the dog beds. The foam beds, they don't eat as much as the ones that have kind of the stuffing in it, kind of like the dog toys. So I'm going to make one for myself, and then I have plenty of fleece, and however many beds I can get out of this, I thought I would just donate. So this is Project Foam. I did get this at Walmart, and let's see, this measures, it's 1 inch thickness. So if you're joining tonight, be sure to say hi. Let me know if you did anything fun for St. Patrick's Day. Maybe let me know how many dogs you have. Okay. So this measures, let's see, I forgot the width of this. It probably says on the package and I didn't read it. So it's 24 inches wide. And I kind of measured one of my dog beds upstairs. So I'm going to make this probably like a yard. So this is 36. So depending on the size of your dog, if you have a large dog or a small dog, you can make this however big or small you want to. So I'm going to go with 36 inches wide, and I'm just going to cut straight across this. And I'm using my new scissors. The brand is called Kai, and I'm really excited about them because I've been a Ginger scissor person for years, and everybody kept raving about these. Look how easy that cuts. I'm not even, yeah, that's really nice. So I will put a link to the scissors in the comments after the video if you're interested in where I got them, so you can find them. Okay. So now, since this is kind of in scrap pieces, we might have to trim our foam, we might have to trim the fleece. So if you've got scraps, so something else you can do is piece together your fleece or fabric. If you've got large pieces, you know, you can make it kind of a patchwork. I'm going to slide this out of the way for just a second. That way. So yeah, if you have scraps of fabric that are a decent size, but not quite big enough, you can certainly make a patchwork, you know, and sew your squares or rectangles together and make it a little patchwork. It'll be super cute. I don't think your dog is going to care what it honestly looks like. I like the polar fleece because it is warm and soft. Now let's get my scissors. So I'm just laying my fabric over this and kind of smoothing it out. So I've got plenty of width, and I'm going to I want to have some excess on both ends. So I'm just laying this out. And I'm totally winging this. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I have enough that I can just fold this. So I'm going to fold it back on itself. And then we will just have to sew two sides and we don't have to piece it together. Let me see if I can smooth this out and see if this will cover it. If it doesn't, just cut two pieces and sew it together. So it's kind of like making a pillow. So I have got plenty, so this is going to work perfect. Alright, perfect. Alright, so I'm going to take this foam off for a second. I'm fighting with it. The only bad thing about the foam is getting it into our cover here because it doesn't slide very easily. So I'm going to trim this. So my foam was 36 inches and I've got probably 39-40. My mat only goes up to 36, so I'm guessing at the moment. So I'm just going to cut off this excess right here because this will give me plenty to sew the sides and then tuck in the end and just top stitch it closed. I'm going to go ahead and trim this. And now I don't have to have this fleece just sitting in my closet not getting used, so we can put it to some good use. And you can use any fabric. It doesn't have to be polar fleece by any means. And then I'm just kind of straightening up, I'm lining up my edge, and then I'm going to straighten up the sides if they need to be straightened up here. Okay. And I'm going to turn this way. So I have 24 inches wide. So I'm not going to cut it 24. I want to cut it wider than that because we've got 1 inch of thickness. So we need to allow for that. And I'm just going to make it, it doesn't have to be like super tight. Don't forget this is a dog bed. So it doesn't have to be like perfect, spot on. As if you were making like, you know, a seat cushion or something like that. This is just for fun. Okay, so I have 24. I'm going to cut probably, I need an inch of thickness. They're 26, 27, probably between 27 and 28 is going to, I'm going to do 28 because I need to have some seam allowance. That'll give me plenty to work with. Totally kind of eyeballing this, but I just made a little cut. So it's 28 inches wide, and my foam was 24. Now the other thing you can do with your excess fleece, because now this is really scraps and getting much smaller, is you can cut strips and you can create braids and make dog toys with it. Okay, so now I have this cut and I'm going to turn, this has a seam in it where I made a blanket, so that now is the wrong side. So I'm going to put right sides together. And I'm just going to fold it right in half, like this. And I'm just going to put a couple pins down the side, just to hold it together. And I'm going to sew my side seams. Also, if you all want to get alerts to when I'm doing a video, if you'll comment alert or chat bot will send you a Facebook message and ask you if you want to opt in to receive the alert, and you just respond to the message you get. Okay, so I have just pinned the long sides, and I'm going to sew right down here. I'm going to sew in some white thread, that way you might be able to see it a little better. Technically I would use a matching thread, but again, it's a dog bed, you don't have to be perfect. Or if you want to use a contrasting thread just as a decorative detail, this is going to be on the inside, so it really doesn't matter, but if you wanted to use a contrasting thread as a detail on the outside, that's up to you. Okay, so let me go ahead and sew up the sides, and I'm just going to use like a probably a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Do a little back stitch. To the end, do another back stitch off, and now we'll sew down the other side. This is going to be a quick and easy project. Now if you didn't have enough to fold in half, just cut your second piece and you would sew along the bottom, so you would sew in a U shape. I had plenty that I could fold it in half and then just do my side seams. Side seams done. So what I'm going to do, since the foam is 1 inch thick, I'm going to take my corner right here and I'm going to pull out the sides like this to create a triangle, and I'm going to stitch about 1 inch from the top just straight across, just right here, because that will help kind of form a box to fit the foam a little better. And I'm just coming 1 inch from the point. And then I'll do the other side. So I'm just getting that fold and pulling out the side seams right here. Turn this around so y'all can see my seam is right here. And just making a triangle, and then I will sew 1 inch from this top point down to create more of a box to fit the foam. So as you can see where the white thread is, it just stitched right there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off that bulk because we don't want that in there. And I'm going to turn, let's see, before I turn this, so I can do the same thing to the other corners Actually, I'm going to wait just a minute because this is longer, so we're going to turn it. And then just stick your hand in here and push out the corners. So as you can see now, I've got a flat edge right here. So that will fit that foam. It's right there. So now for the hard part, and that is getting this foam in here because it doesn't slide. So this is where you have to do a little bit of manhandling of the foam into the fleece or your fabric. So I've just kind of got it pitched together and pulling the fabric over it. And then I'll unfold it, and I'm taking the foam with my hand and putting it in that corner. Now, what I'm also going to do, just to kind of help, because this foam is thin, like if you have a thick piece of foam, it's not going to work, but I just put a pin just to help me hold that in place while I get the other side where it needs to be. And I'm holding this end and putting it to this corner. I'm going to pull up the rest of the fabric and try to get it as smooth as possible. Okay, so now I'm going to pull that. I'm going to stick my hand back in here. And you want to make sure that it didn't slide down and get it smooth along the end. So you can see right here, it's on the end and it fits this corner. That's our little triangle, the straight stitch, so it fits that corner very nicely. And I'm just kind of pulling this to kind of keep it smooth and pull the excess up as best I can. And I'll flip it over, get both sides really smooth, get our seams on the side. Now this may not be a super tight fit, but again, that's okay. It's a dog bed. We're not making custom cushions or anything like that, but we do want to smooth it out as best we can. I'm going to go ahead and take my pin out so I can smooth out my corners. Okay, so now, as you can see, we've got plenty of excess in here, so I'm probably going to trim some of this off. We've got about 4 inches of excess from the edge of the foam, right there. So what I want to do, I'm going to trim some of it, but then we're going to just tuck it in and then we can top stitch it close. Now there's 2 options here, or however you want to do it. This is probably one that I'm probably going to donate. So if I were keeping it, I always like to have a removable cover for the dog bed so you can wash it, because you know they get dirty and covered in hair and all that kind of stuff. So what I would do is I would tuck this under and I would sew Velcro right here, and then you can Velcro this closed and be able to take it on and off. So that is an option. Another way to use your polo fleece is if you've ever made an envelope style pillow, you can do the same thing for this and create like an open seam that just overlaps. That way you can pull the foam out that way and then wash it. I actually have one of our dog beds, that's how I did it. I just kind of made a pillowcase or an envelope pillow closure for that. So this one, I'm just going to go ahead and sew it closed. So I'm going to trim off about 1 inch, and then we'll tuck it in and top stitch it closed. So I'm kind of just eyeballing this because we don't need all of this. now I'm going to take the edge and I'm just going to fold it under here. And I'm not going to fold it even with the foam. It needs to hang off a little bit. Tucking this in. Okay, so I want to show you the end. So we got the foam. Hope you all can see this. Okay, so you can see the foam and you can see this hangs off. So we're going to close it. We're just going to pin right here and just top stitch our folded edges together. And that's how easy this is. Another way that you could make a dog bed is if you don't sew the no-sew blankets, the tie blankets, you could do that around your foam as well. So you could measure your foam, and then you would want to have, I think the ties are usually about 4 inches, so you would want to have 4 inches both directions, both ends, and then you could cut your tie, lay your foam in there, and then tie it around there. But depending on if your dog likes to tear up stuff, they might start eating the ties. I don't know. Depends on your dog. Okay. So I have just folded in the edges and I've put the edges together and got them pinned, and I'm literally just going to top stitch right here and close that up, and then we're finished. So let's go ahead and do that. Just kind of hold the foam and kind of get it out of your way. So this is a great beginner project. I know this is curving up, but once it lays flat, it'll be nice and smooth. And as you can see, I just top stitch right here. We have a nice warm and fuzzy material, got a soft cushion, and a quick and easy dog bed. You could even make this, a project for your local humane societies or pet shelters or whatnot. If you have dogs that like to eat their beds like mine do, you might go through more beds than you care to admit. So this is just a great inexpensive way to make a dog bed, and we used 1-inch foam. I got the roll of foam from Walmart, and this is just scrap polar fleece that I needed to figure out what to do with. So if you've got projects or extra fabric, this is just a fun, easy way to use it up. You could patchwork it, make it super cute. But it's a really good beginner sewing project. So if you make some, be sure to post pictures of it. I'm going to make some more of these. I've got plenty of fleece. I make a couple, make an extra one for my pets, my 2 dogs. But I just wanted to share that with you. So if you will be so kind and share our video, we will be uploading all of our videos to YouTube. So check out our YouTube channel and be sure to hit the subscribe button so that you can find our videos at any given time, because sometimes they get buried in all the things we post on Facebook. So you can always find any of our videos if you want to go back to it on YouTube and just hit the subscribe button. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you soon. Bye.